So ex-Google CEO Eric Schmidt warns the perfect AI girlfriends could worsen loneliness for young men.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Rob, if you got this clip, I think it's very important. Play this clip, and then Adam, I'm going to come to you. Go ahead, Rob.
There's lots of evidence that there's now a problem with young men. In many cases, the path to success for young men has been, shall we say, been made more difficult because they're not as educated as the women are now. Remember, there are more women in college than men. And many of the traditional paths are no longer as available. And so they turn to the online world for enjoyment and sustenance, but also because of the social media algorithms, they find like-minded people who ultimately radicalize them, either in a horrific way like terrorism, or in the kind of way that you're describing, where they're just maladjusted. This is a good example of an unexpected problem of existing technology. So now imagine that the AI girlfriend or boyfriend, but let's use AI girlfriend as an example, is perfect visually, perfect emotionally. And the AI girlfriend, in this case, captures your mind as a man to the point where she, or whatever it is, takes over the way you're thinking. You're obsessed with her. That kind of obsession is possible, especially for people who are not fully formed. Parents are going to have to be more involved for all the obvious reasons. But at the end of the day, parents can only control what their sons and daughters are doing within reason. We've ended up, again, using teenagers as an example. We have all sorts of rules about age of maturity, 16, 18, what have you, 21 in some cases. And yet you put a 12 or 13-year-old in front of one of these things, and they have access to every evil as well as every good in the world, and they're not ready to take it. So I think the general question of, are you mature enough to handle it, sort of the general version of your AI girlfriend example, is unresolved.
Adam.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be the conversation of our times of what the hell is going on with young men. You know, there's a famous phrase out there in the manosphere. It's chase excellence or pursue excellence,
Adam,
not
can
women.
I hold I'm sorry to interrupt you. Let me just set you. I'm going to come back to you because this is the part that he didn't say that I want to read, which makes the story deeper, and then I want to get your commentary on it. So Schmidt referenced grown risks, citing a Florida lawsuit where a 14-year-old boy, Sewell Setzer III, committed suicide after an AI chatbot girlfriend sent obsessive messages and told him to come home. Schmidt stressed teenagers are not ready to handle complex AI-powered technology, adding that younger users are exposed to every evil as well as every good in the world. Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't even hear about that part, so that makes this story even more
tough,
tougher to digest. You know, as I was saying, there's a famous phrase out there that's young men should chase excellence or pursue excellence, not women. Because as a man, it takes time to become that dude. We've had these conversations before. Now, what I would tell a young man who's obsessed with a real girl, like, oh my God, this girl, I'd be like, dude, relax. It's not your time. Now young men are becoming obsessed with women that don't even exist. These are AI completely made-believe chatbots. And this young man took his own life.
Yeah,
because of the comments.
Yes, obsessive comment by an AI girlfriend.
They don't even
Chatbot.
exist.
Yeah.
So look, I've worked in the nightlife world before. You know, if a group of 21-year-old girls show up, 24-year-old girls show up, let them in. Let's go. All good. No problem. If a group of 21-year-old boys show up, they better be buying a table or know somebody in the inside, or they're getting turned away. Nobody wants them here. They're kryptonite to a club. So that feeling, I remember the feeling that I went with my boys, my college buddies. What's up, man? We're going to go out in South Beach. We have no money. We're in college. We show up. The door guy, French dude, douchebag, he's like, what do you want here? I was like, yeah, we're going to go. And they're like, who you with? I was like, yeah, just my friends. You buying a table, $2,000. I'm like, nah, we got no money. He's like, get the fuck out of here. That's how young men are made to feel. But now you show up, you're 40 years old, they're like, oh, right this way. Come on in. Or you're with your friends, you're with your crew because you're a man of status, you've established.
But what's the point with this
content? The point is this. Young men are going to take time to become the person that they need to become. When you're 16, 18, and you're obsessed with trying to get women, you're thinking, oh my God, it's the end of the world. Mary doesn't like me. Your time is going to come. But it's going to take 5, 10, 15 years. Even Mark Zuckerberg right now is 40 years old, finally developing Riz. That's what it comes down to. But, you know, this conversation, Eric Schmidt knows a little bit about what's going on in the online world. He was the CEO of Google. The conversation he had with Scott Scott Galloway.
Was.
Exactly. Former. Social media has ruined dating for young men. Dating apps ruined dating for young men because they have no credibility. They have no social score. They have no status. And then they also hear things, juxtapose things like the future is female. Who runs the world? Girls. All this types of thing. Oh, if you're masculine, you have toxic masculinity. All these things are being thrown in young men's faces. And then on top of that, 40 years ago, it was 60% of men went to college, 40% women. These days, it's the exact opposite. So everything is being the patriarchy, men, toxic masculinity. It's not okay to be a man. What I would suggest is this. Young men need to play the long game, and they need to understand that it's going to take time. Last thing, if you're a parent out there, get your nerdy ass kid off the video games. They need to get out there and interact with the real world, or unfortunately, this story is going to become a little bit more pervasive.
Tom, I'm going to come to you as a parent.
As a parent,
I got boys and girls. You got girls.
Yep.
So as a parent, how do you process this?
Well, first of all, I was waiting for Eric Schmidt to say, as happens on Facebook. He didn't add that. And because he's former CEO of Google, from down the street, he could have thrown some shade right there with those three little words, as on Facebook. And so I get to that as a parent. You have to pull your kids back from the digital fake into the physical real. And the physical real is talking eye to eye, looking people in the eye, talking to people in your study group. I talked to Bailey about this, right? And I've talked to Brooke about this. It's like, hey, all the social media online is fake affirmation. It's fake. It's not real. Your real engagement is with your teammates on your swim team, your teammates on your golf team, teammates working on yearbook. And you're going to find people that have things going on. You'll be able to look them in the eye and you'll be able to engage with them. And I have been putting digital guardrails around my daughters for a long time. And I think now they see it playing out because they see friends at school where it is on the other edge. And as a parent, if you're not involved and you're not focused, you're in trouble. And you know where it starts? Parents, it starts with your patience, because you're losing patience and you're stressed because your kid's crying and doing the things at 5 years old. So you give them a mini game to play. You're giving them a pacifier. And maybe they do need a little distraction there, but you better manage it, because that big pacifier when they're 12, 13 years old is social media, and it's toxic and deadly.
By the way, if I can advise anybody that's watching this here, one of the things that I think a lot of time when people think about Tom, they think about, how can I raise money? How can I business, all this are biz doc. Why don't you and your wife connect Tom and ask questions about parenting? This is one of the conversations we have all the time. We, Tom and I, and our family, we made certain new decisions a few months ago. I would say 6 months ago, collectively together.
We read a book. We're open to ideas that are good.
Yeah, we are on the same wavelength when it comes down to raising kids, where if Tom takes my Tico or Dylan or whatever, they go together for 3-4 days, I'm not even thinking about what they're doing. They're in good hands, right? Because I know our values and principles are the same. I had this girl here the other day, Layla Micklethwait. Rob, did I say her name correctly?
Correct.
Phenomenal. I had such a good time talking to her. She's the one that got the 2.33 million signatures to petition to shut down Pornhub.com.
Oh, wow.
Because of the amount of porn that they had underage. Out of 56 million videos they had on Pornhub.com, a story that came up, that's her, by the way, Layla Micklethwait, phenomenal lady. And if you can pull up that New York Times story, the other New York Times story that we talked about, by the way, very, very weird New York Times story. A child of Pornhub. This is the children of Pornhub telling stories of how these kids end up in Pornhub. One mother. Rob, do you have the intro for the interview tomorrow? Maybe we can even show the intro. You have the intro. They send it to you. It's on our text.
Yep, I got it.
If you can pull it up. The intro, Vinny, is disturbing. One of the top things that we discussed, her and I together, is the fear parents have to have serious conversations with their kids. And I brought up a couple things with her. One of the things is, about a year ago, I don't know if you guys remember, we talked about this. Maybe we talked about one of my kids was a little bit drifting. And I had a conversation with him one morning, and I pulled him aside. Maybe you'll remember this. I don't want to name kids, so don't drop any names and all this other stuff. I'm just saying, one of my kids. And I said, hey, I'm getting the feeling you're drifting a little bit. And we sat down and we had a 1-hour meeting together. And by the way, when you want to have serious conversations with your kids, if you're intentional, they're going to give you 100% attention. This guy's looking at me fully. And
what does drifting mean?
Humberto, if you can send a video to Rob, it's not going to be here, Rob. It's in a text. We have it. It's an intro that was sent to approve. Humberto can send it to you. So I said, you're drifting. He says, what's drifting? So I said, let me show you this clip from the book. What is the book? What is the book? What is the book? Drifting book by that lady. Oh my God, what is this book called? First time I read this book, I couldn't put it down. Book on drifting. It's a book that's linked to Napoleon Hill, who wrote it many, many years ago. And she explains this book. Somebody, can you please just text me if you're watching this? I know somebody's watching the same. Pat, how did you forget this book? Do you know what book it is? I tell him I want you, Outwitting the Devil. That's the one. Outwitting the Devil. And I had him read this book, and I had him read an excerpt from this book, okay? And in the book, it explains, you want to destroy your life? You have to be aware when you're drifting. And what is drifting? Drifting is just like when your life, you're just kind of like drifting.
Like a car going off the road.
Yeah.
You slowly start to go and then
you
make
die,
crash,
right?
Yeah.
So I said, I'm getting the feeling life is just regular for you. And you're not investing in yourself in certain things that you need to be. You know what's one of the things that really changes identity? You know how you go up to him, you're like, hey, something's happened with you?
Mm-hmm.
We put him in kickboxing. And he goes 5 days a week. He'd go every day if the trainers were available for him. Let me tell you what's happened to this kid's confidence. When you have boys, folks, you have to find a way to develop their confidence in a different way than girls. My opinion. It's a different way of developing confidence with boys than girls. Both of them are going to be needed. And if you choose to have more than one kid, you have to still find a way to build up their identities. They all deserve the identity to be built. Even though when you're like, sometimes you don't have time or whatever that's going on, you have to find a way to do it. Find a way to get your kids to be involved in something that they're improving in that gives them confidence. You got to find a way to do that. You know, when you're all of a sudden being complimented for the work that you're doing, it's a confidence booster. The other day, we publicly promoted Rob. We think Rob's done such a phenomenal job here that we publicly promoted him. And by the way, Rob is a guy that, you know, is a behind a screen guy sometimes, but unusual, he's not. Rob's a talent. Rob's a comedian. Rob's phenomenal at what he does as well. And we love Rob. And we publicly recognize Rob. And for the last, Rob, 3.5 years, when I'm giving you feedback, I'm like, hey, something's happened with you. You're developing yourself. You're recreating yourself. And it's highlighting because it's very different than when it was 3.5 years ago. You were like, I don't know what's going on here. You're a different human being today than you were 3.5 years ago. And the more I learn about this guy, the more I love this guy. I like what he's doing to improve himself. As a father, as a husband, as a man, you should see how he's with his kids. Well, I'm seeing like he's on a call and boom, let me step. I got to do this. Hey, with his wife, it's okay. We're going to do this. This is good. Like these are things that it matters. Stuff that matters in life. Kids matter. Family matters. Friends matter. Like you pour into it a little bit. Well, we got to pay attention. But sometimes we as parents are drifting. I got my promotion. I got my this. Dude, pump the brakes. Go have a conversation with your kid. Walk with them for an hour. How you doing? What's happening? Let me tell you what I'm thinking about you. Here's how I envision you being one day, kid. I think one day you can be ... Really, daddy? Really, mommy? Yes. But I also think I'm noticing some things you're not paying attention to. You eat too much sweets. You sleeping too much. You're not exercising. You're not moving your body. You're addicted to video games. How about we get addicted to your dreams? How about you have these types of conversations with them? This is the clip with Layla Mickelwaite. This comes out tomorrow, by the way. It's a disturbing. Vinny, just watch this. You'll feel how disturbing it is in the first 20 seconds.
Okay, and you said out of 58 million viewers,
56 million videos that was on Pornhub. 91% of it they took down.
What?
Because of that New York Times article and because of this lady that got the 2.3 million petitions.
Wow.
Watch this clip right here. Go ahead.
From Broward County, Florida. She was missing for an entire year, and she was finally found when her distraught mother was tipped off by a Pornhub user that he recognized her daughter on the site. She was found in 58 videos on Pornhub. So this is emails from the CEO. Can we tell MasterCard that it just slipped through the cracks? They want to know what we do.
Oh, they're communicating amongst each other as employees.
They're saying, what should we do? She couldn't be older than 13 or 14, and the video was obvious. And they left it up.
Under new ownership or old ownership?
This was the old ownership, but old ownership is the same VPs and executives that are there today, right? But there's not enforcement.
Why are they not being held accountable?
There's not enforcement.
I don't get that though. Who wouldn't enforce that law? It's kids.
I want to address something that Solomon and his partner said on this show. I mean, you could play what he actually said. It's a complete lie. They exploit and they harvest the data of every single user that visits their site. They're currently being sued in a class action, and I think we will see full criminal prosecution of the owners of Pornhub, and I hope that we do.
Okay, so this goes out tomorrow. Wow. You know how many kids have been missing according to FBI? You know how many children are missing in America according to FBI?
Overall.
First of all, 2022 records. Rob, don't look at the screen. Just look at me.
2022.
How many children you think are missing? Tom, everybody think number and then tell me.
Okay.
Children missing that are still missing.
In the United
It's not a big number that you think it's a big number.
250,000.
What do you think the number is?
That's an insane number. 10,000.
Okay, 10. Tom, what do you think the number is?
I thought it was 30,000.
Tom, Rob, can you pull up the? You're about to be shocked. There's 359 missing children.
Wow. Missing.
359,094 missing children. Every one of them counts.
What?
Reported to the National Crime Information Center.
Reported, too.
When he said
22,000.
250, I thought
By
that
the
was
way,
an insane
you said
number.
20,000. That's 22,000 more than it was in 2021. Bro, like, how?
Missing.
What are we not talking? Think about these parents that are missing. I mean, this is serious stuff here that we're talking about. So, for me, parents, we need to be a little bit more involved. You got a nephew, you got a niece, you got to develop some of their identities to make sure you're having these tough conversations with them when it's necessary. But for me, when Eric Schmidt is telling this story, as much as we have fun here, guys, and we joke around, we do certain, at the core of what we're doing, there's values and principles that matter that you got to stand up for. These are some of these conversations that we're having right now, because I think sometimes parents, we all need a nudge, all of us do, to just kind of be reminded of it. Maybe use today on Thanksgiving to have a conversation with them. Maybe this is a great opportunity today. Maybe today, tomorrow, if you're not working, pull them aside. Go for a walk with them. Do it individually with each one of them. And take them for somewhere and sit down and say, I want to talk to you, son. I want to talk to you, baby. What's going on, Pops? What's this? It's going to be a little bit weird if it's not regularly happening. And before you do, make a few notes of what your outcome of this meeting with them is. It's going to be different for your daughter than your son, than your oldest, than your youngest. But the fact that you have their conversation with them one-on-one and you give them that one-on-one attention, I can't tell you what it does to them. You remember when your parents did it to you. We remember when they did it that one time. I was 6, 7 years old. My mom would tell me, you're going to be an incredible engineer one day. Engineer? You're going to be, who the hell? Like, I'm 7 years old. I'm remembering that. Have that conversation with them. My dad would say, son, the reason why you're going to be a leader one day is because you're not afraid of the truth. One time my dad and I went to this, what do you call it, spa in Iran, that they had pool and all this other stuff, that we would go there and they would make this drink, Persian drink, that I freaking love.
Dude?
It's not dough. It's like water with these, my dad knows what it is, this fruit stuff that they put in. It's just incredible with lemon and all this stuff. I love it. And we'd go there and the guy says, how old is your son? And my dad says, they're friends. He said, my son is 14 years old. I said, I'm not 14 years old. My dad's lying to you. I'm 8 years old. And he says, really? He says, yeah, because this place is 12 and up. He says, well, listen, since you're father, I like the fact that you're honest. Come in. And he let me in. He says, the reason why you're going to be a leader one day is you're not afraid of the truth. You'll tell the truth. You get in trouble sometimes, but you'll tell the truth. That stays with you at 8 years old.
Yeah.
I'm 46. That's 38 years ago. We can do that for our kids, folks. You and I can do that for our kids. Use today as the opportunity this weekend to have that conversation. And do me a favor, share it with me. I want to hear about it. You have no idea how much I love hearing stories like this. And when you have that conversation, you can get a hold of us on Connect or tweet and do whatever you want. But on Connect, we'll be able to respond back to these stories. Today is Thursday. It's Thanksgiving. Tomorrow is Black Friday. And the reason why they call it Black Friday is because that is the first day that a lot of the retailers go into profit mode. So whatever else they make the rest of the year, hey, the name is Black Friday. Let me tell you what my code's been every year for Black Friday. Many, many years ago, it was about lining up outside of Walmart or Best Buy or Costco. I'm going to get the big TV for 50% discount. Nowadays, it's Amazon and all this other stuff. And you splurge and you splurge and you splurge, and nothing about you improved, and it's the same old, same old. Here's what we're doing for Black Friday, folks. First of all, we have a massive Black Friday sale that's going to be 50% off. There's a whole setup, 50% off hats, shirts. We have this notebook here, the Valuetainment notebook, that's got the multiple different charts that we use at the Vault Conference. For some of you guys that are business owners, this is a perfect notebook for you. 50% discount. Shirts, gears, you'll see all these things. Wallets, Angry Patriot stickers, even the SLS leadership event that if you attended it, it's $5,000 a ticket to $30,000 held at Mar-a-Lago. The recording is selling for $1,000. Today's discount of $497. If you go all the way to the top, Rob, we have a bundle with all the different courses combined together. It's a price point of $12,688 when you buy it independently for the entire weekend. Whether you want to improve your sales or how to be a better public speaker, how to create content that goes viral, how to have strategies to scale your business, the Vault recording, the advanced business strategy, business planning workshop, all of it that people, if they wanted to buy a ticket, they could spend $20,000, $30,000 for the ticket. Exclusive recording. This is going to be around 30 hours of recording for $997 only. Again, represent the brands you believe in. Take advantage of the brands that you want to support. I'm going around right now seeing Valuetainment gear all over the place. Future Looks Bright, USA, Angry Patriot, everywhere, which is phenomenal to see. If you got big plans for 2025, find a way to recreate yourself. And if you represent PBD Podcast, Valuetainment, how we process issues, what we do here, we're giving a 50% discount on items purely this weekend. And by the way, I'm telling you this, anybody that places an order over $500, you're probably going to get a FaceTime call from me. So me, Adam, Vinny, we may do a surprise FaceTime call tonight during Thanksgiving and talk to you and have a conversation with you, but the order needs to be $500 or more. You'll get some surprise FaceTime calls from us. Having said that, go to vtmerch.com, place the order before these things sell out, because they will this weekend. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.